General Hospital's Alexis did a bad thing and continues to do a bad thing with two other women doing the same bad thing. That's because Rick did a bad thing, and in this case, they are all bad people. But Molly's not a bad person, and that's going to be a problem for Alexis. Does Alexis really think that Molly won't ever find out that Alexis locked Molly's father in her basement, strapped to a gurney with a ball gag in his mouth for a month? Sure, she thinks that Rick won't say a word because he also did some bad things, but this is a pretty big thing to never let slip. Molly also lives with Alexis. We get that she'd never go into the shed because there are bats there, but she never ever walks into the basement for anything. The washer and dryer seem to be there, so does Alexis run a personal laundry service for Molly's clothing? Is that part of the room and board accommodations when you move back home with Mom? Eventually, Molly is going to learn what her mother did with her father for an extended period of time in the basement, and it won't be pleasant. Poor Alexis lost her eldest daughter to an unspeakable tragedy last fall, but could lose her youngest daughter to her refusal to deal with her middle daughter this fall. When Molly asks why Alexis did what she did, it will all go back to Christina's Dumbo move of cutting the brakes on what she thought was Ava's car. If Alexis had just committed Christina as she had planned, told Molly what Christina had done, and stopped coddling her problem child, there would have been no need to lock Rick in the basement for a month. Of course, if Christina hadn't nearly killed her sister's father, there would have been no need to commit Christina. Meanwhile, Christina's mental health issues have still never been dealt with. Alexis is committing a serious crime, and when Molly learns the truth, well, run, Alexis, run! Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The budding relationship between General Hospital's Tracy Quartermaine and her newfound great-grandson, Gio Palmieri, has been one of the greatest joys to watch this year, and that's thanks to the connection between two incredible actors. When Giovanni Mazza made his GH debut last year at Brooklyn and Chase's wedding, we never expected the cousin from Brooklyn to become such an integral part of the Quartermaine clan, but almost a year and a half later, that's where we are. Gio was revealed to be Brooklyn and Dante's son, whom she had given up for adoption as a teen. Before the big reveal even took place, Tracy had taken a liking to the Bensonhurst stray, who took up residence in Monica's house, and they developed a special relationship. Mazza admitted that he was a little intimidated by Jane Elliott when he first started working with her, but their working relationship grew over time. I can't pinpoint a specific moment, but earlier this year, we were just doing a scene, and I was coming from a very personal place, and she was coming from a very personal place, and we sort of just connected, Mazza told Soap Opera Digest. It was just such an authentic connection. It's something that actors dream about, that type of connection with their scene partner, and Jane is just one of the greatest scene partners ever. When Gio finally learned the truth about his birth parents and broke the news to Tracy that he was her great-grandson, our hearts skipped a beat as the acting was so raw and real. According to Mazza, Elliot caused him to become so emotional during the scene that taping had to stop. She was so powerful and so emotional that I couldn't help it, Mazza said. I think we cut it so that we could go back and film the tag again because I totally lost it for a couple of seconds. Like, I genuinely broke down from her acting because it was so beautiful. It took many months, but Gio finally told Tracy that he was proud to be her great-grandson last week in another moment that will stay with us forever. Long before he joined the cast of General Hospital as Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson felt a deep connection to the show because growing up, both his mom and grandmother were devoted viewers of the show. As such, the actor was very much looking forward to sharing the stage with actors like Steve Burton, whose character is closely connected to Gibson's. I didn't really know what to expect with Steve, he admits. All I knew is that I was very excited to meet him. As it turns out, the GH star has a personal connection of his own to an iconic role of Burton's, just not his Port Charles one. Gibson explains, "This is kind of a funny story, but my second screen test for Michael was with Laura Wright, Carly, and Steve. I was telling Mark Teschner, our casting director, the story I'm about to tell you, and he was like, 'You have to tell Steve.' I was like, I'm only going to tell Steve if I actually get the part. So I ended up getting the part, and then me and Steve had our first scenes together, and I pulled him to the side, and I was like, "Yo, dude, I just have to let you know, I technically named my dog after you." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" Video game enthusiast Gibson elaborates, "I'm a diehard Final Fantasy VII fan, and he voiced the main character Cloud in Final. So I told him that, and he was like, 'Dude, there's no way.' And I was like, 'Yeah, man, my dog's name is Cloud, and it's after your character in Final Fantasy VII. In retrospect, Gibson questions whether he should have timed his big reveal differently. "Maybe I should have waited and had a couple more scenes with him," he chuckles. "Because I told him after our very first scenes together, it was like, I showed up, it was maybe my first day or my second day, and he runs up to me and he's like, 'Yo, dude, you did it, you got the part, that's so cool.' And he gave me this big hug, and I was like, 'Oh, thanks, man.' And then we have this intense scene with each other, and then I tell him about his canine namesake." The actor reports that Burton took the honor in stride. He was just cracking up like, "There's no way." I'm sure there are other dogs named Cloud out there, but I'm assuming I'm the first person that he's met and has actually been able to talk to that named their dog after him. So I think his reaction was a mixture of being honored, but also being like, "That's insane. That's so funny that you did that." He had a nice little chuckle about it, but it seemed like the honor was there, and he should be honored, because Cloud is a great dog. Needless to say, Gibson is having a blast getting to know Burton behind the scenes. He comes off as such an intense dude on screen, very similar to Maurice Benard's Sonny, the actor observes. But in real life, he's a bro, he's a buddy. He's got the energy, he's got the hype, he's fun, he's there to have a good time. I couldn't say a single bad thing about Steve. He's the man. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Carly Spencer will rage over S. Vaughn's WSB job. You can bet Carly will confront Jack Brennan for letting Jocelyn Jacks date an agent, though she won't realize her own daughter is one too. GH fans know Colette Moreau was exposed as a mole and shipped off, so that left Brennan needing a second in command. Brennan promoted Vaughn, who'll be serving as the new deputy station chief now that Colette's gone. Since Vaughn's undercover days are over, Brennan doesn't plan to hide Vaughn's WSB status. There's no doubt that Carly's going to find out who replaced Colette and have a serious freakout about it. Once Jocelyn comes home, she'll do her best to keep her cover story intact. Jocelyn may also assure Carly that after taking this time away, she's ready to put Vaughn in the rearview mirror. Carly may be glad to hear that, since she was a bit apprehensive about Jocelyn dating an older man who pitted her against Emma Scorpio Drake. However, Carly believes Vaughn is just some random maintenance guy from PCU. Vaughn's involvement with the WSB is going to come as a huge shock to Carly soon enough. It's easy to imagine Carly catching Vaughn in Brennan's office and getting thrown for a loop. Carly may demand answers from Brennan, who'll probably admit Vaughn has been a valuable part of the WSB for quite some time. Brennan might remind Carly that sometimes he has to keep secrets for the sake of missions, but Carly will still be livid since he let Vaughn date Jocelyn. Although Vaughn might claim it was just part of his assignment and argue that it's over now, Carly will still be upset. This will feel like a major betrayal on Jack's part, but she may calm down and accept Brennan's deception in the end. That'll make it even worse when Brennan's far worse secret comes to light down the road. Jocelyn herself is part of the WSB, so Carly's going to make that discovery eventually and absolutely lose it. General Hospital spoilers say Carly and Brennan are almost certainly headed for a horrible breakup, so stay tuned for updates on this doomed couple. It's a pretty good bet that the man whom Port Charles and General Hospital fans believe is Nathan West is absolutely not Nathan West, at least not in his pure form. So, if he's not Nathan West, who is he? Liesl Obrecht must be in a complete state of shock after both of her presumed dead children have been resurrected in a matter of weeks. That's the only explanation for a former criminal mastermind like Liesl not finding any of this to be the least bit strange and coincidental. Yes, the man looks like Nathan, has Nathan's memories, and even has Nathan's fingerprints and DNA, but something is not quite right here. We have felt that since last week, but Britt's reaction to seeing her dead brother confirmed it for us. That is not the same Nathan whom Maxie married. We are willing to believe that genetically, this man is indeed Nathan, and that is Nathan's body and face, but something has to be going on with his mind. Britt looked terrified of him. She didn't even put on a good act because it was obvious to the audience that Britt knew exactly what was going on, while we have seen some theories that Caesar Faison's brain was implanted in Nathan's head. After all, Kevin Collins had Faison's brain in a jar on his desk soon after Faison and Nathan had both died. However, we are not sure that the theory passes muster. Instead, we are willing to believe that the memory mapping plot that gave Jason's memories to Drew and Alex's memories to Anna is coming back into play. Perhaps the contents of Faison's brain are now in Nathan's brain, and he thinks he is the evil Caesar Faison, deranged personality and all. The note with Britt's meds was signed with a C, so Caesar Faison, or at least someone who thinks they are Caesar Faison, makes sense. Is this pseudo-Nathan the person Britt has been working for this whole time? The one who had her so spooked and frightened at the Five Poppy Resort? If this is Nathan with Faison's memories and evil streak, can it all be reversed in time for Maxie's eventual emergence from her coma? Hopefully. General Hospital spoilers for the week of October 6-10 reveal that Willow Tate will be in despair as Harrison Chase and Anna Devane move forward with a search warrant. Britt Westbourne will also deliver a harsh response to someone, so here's what GH fans can expect. For starters, Alexis Davis will give Sonny Corinthos a warning. Since Sonny will spend a little time getting to know Veronica Ronnie Bard in the coming episodes, Alexis may voice some trust issues. It looks like Ronnie will end up with control of the Quartermaine mansion after Monica Quartermaine's will reading, but Alexis may suspect something shady is going on. Martin Gray may be behind some will trickery, so he's bound to get busted sooner or later if that's the case. In the meantime, Giovanni Gio Palmieri will make a significant choice. Could Gio decide to get back into violin playing and keep his previous promise to play at Donna Corinthos' birthday party after all? As for Portia Robinson, she'll face news that upends her world. Portia's life is about to change in a big way, so it sounds like she'll be the one who faces a positive pregnancy test. Next, Anna and Chase will have a search warrant to serve. That could happen at the Quartermaine residence, since there are suspicions about one of Edward Quartermaine's old guns being used to shoot Drew Kane. Willow will find herself in a state of despair soon after, so that may involve Michael Corinthos' attempt to turn the tables. Michael will indeed back Willow into a corner with some leverage soon, so he might have proof that makes her seem like the shooter, or could perhaps offer baby stalker evidence instead. Then again, Willow's despair could come thanks to Chase's shocking updates. Chase is indeed set to reveal something, so he could break the rules and tell Willow about the judge bribery proof that was found in Drew's safe. Regardless, Willow's going to be in a rattled state soon enough. It could leave Willow reeling and worried over what her next move's going to be. As for Carly Spencer, she'll catch up with Elizabeth Baldwin. That could give Liz and Carly a chance to bond over their disdain for Britt now that she's back. Speaking of Britt, she'll take a harsh stance with someone. Britt might confront Nathan West and accuse him of faking his memory loss if he turns out to be her mystery boss. Nathan may not be quite himself if some programming or memory mapping is involved, so don't miss Britt's grilling session and whatever stunning revelations might be looming. Could Caesar Faison, Peter August, or someone else have commandeered Nathan's body? Across town, Curtis Ashford will spill a theory to Portia, so that may involve Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson if he starts to suspect they were up to no good the night Drew was shot. Finally, Jack Brennan will have a meeting with Jocelyn Jacks, so that may bring a new PCU assignment, along with a reminder that dating S. Vaughn is off limits. General Hospital spoilers say Jocelyn may defy Brennan's orders in more ways than one, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Portia Robinson may be gearing up for a paternity mystery, but will the father be Isaiah Gannon or Curtis Ashford? Based on GH's weekly preview video and some other spoilers about Portia getting news that'll change her life, it certainly looks like she'll find herself with a bun in the oven. Portia should end up staring at a positive pregnancy test and freaking out over this major life development. The show may kick off a paternity mystery since Curtis did have a brief reconciliation with Portia back in August, which led to them hitting the sheets. If Curtis is the bio dad, That could give Portia a reason to fight for her marriage after all. However, Portia and Curtis' relationship feels completely played out at this point. Many GH fans are bored with Curtis and Portia, so maybe it's time to send Portia in a fresh direction by making Isaiah the father instead. There's more drama in giving Portia a permanent tie to her new hookup partner while they're trying to keep things quiet. Isaiah doesn't want to risk his career and has been adamant about exploring this romance under the radar. That could change due to Portia's baby situation and force some difficult choices. Once Portia gets past the shock of it all, she may decide to embrace Trina Robinson's unborn sibling and this new chance at motherhood. That said, Portia may be nervous about how Isaiah will feel if he's indeed the baby daddy, especially since they're barely even together at this point. Fortunately, Isaiah has proven he's a great guy, so we have no reason to think he'll be too harsh with Portia. In fact, Isaiah may catch Portia off guard with a pretty excited response. After Lucky Spencer gave his cabin to Isaiah on his way out of town, Isaiah talked about maybe passing it down to his own children one day. Isaiah is definitely open to the idea of having kids, even if he didn't expect it to happen so soon. Of course, it's possible Portia learned nothing from her paternity deception regarding Trina. In that case, Portia might lie about who the baby daddy is and make a bigger mess of things. Regardless, General Hospital spoilers suggest some pregnancy chaos is about to hit for Portia, so stay tuned for updates on her panic and the bold moves that'll follow. General Hospital spoilers hint that Emma Scorpio Drake may investigate Britt Westbourne's worst secrets, so some life-threatening danger could erupt. GH fans know Emma has been obsessed with proving Professor Henry Hank Dalton does illegal animal testing in his lab. Emma wants to shut Dalton down and free the animals, but his projects are far worse than she could have imagined. At some point, Emma may realize she'd stumbled upon something that's huge and truly terrible. Although Emma won't know the details, she may become determined to find out. Of course, Emma also doesn't know about Britt's survival yet, so that news will throw her for a loop soon enough. Once Emma finds out the Britch is back, along with the Nathan West, alarm bells may go off. Emma loathes Britt and will definitely have her guard up when it comes to her. Ever since Emma was a little girl, she's considered Britt her enemy. It's easy to imagine Emma catching a glimpse of Professor Dalton in a tense meeting with Britt, since they have the same boss. That could raise more red flags for Emma and lead to her investigating Britt next. Emma may ultimately realize Britt is tangled up in something awful that must be stopped. Considering Emma and Britt's history of clashing, the show will probably lean into that as Emma resolves to take her down along with Dalton and everyone else involved. Emma may not be a WSB agent like Jocelyn Jacks, but she's every bit as determined and resourceful when she needs to be. Once Emma's making a mess and potentially interfering in the WSB's investigation, Jocelyn may have to take action. Jack Brennan might give Jocelyn orders to stop Emma, or perhaps Jocelyn could go rogue to save Emma from danger instead. Either way, Emma could do some investigating of her own and uncover some of the shocking secrets Britt's keeping. General Hospital spoilers suggest all this could put Emma's life at stake if she's not careful, so stay tuned for updates on any unsettling revelations to come. We know someone on General Hospital is about to learn they're pregnant this week, and we think we know just who it is. Portia Robinson, step right up. This week's General Hospital promo has Elizabeth asking someone if they could be pregnant. We then see a positive pregnancy test on what appears to be Portia's desk. Since Portia and Elizabeth are besties, it makes sense that Portia would confide in Liz and that Liz would encourage her friend to just take a test and see if all these strange symptoms mean a pregnancy. What Elizabeth does not know is that Portia's potential pregnancy is a bit complicated. We could see it coming a mile away, the moment Portia and Isaiah did the deed on her office couch, just 1 week after GH made sure to give us a Curtis and Portia love scene. The soap wanted us to know they had sex just days before Portia proved the old adage, once a cheater, always a cheater. Portia's first pregnancy was a result of her cheating on her husband, so why wouldn't her second pregnancy also put her in the middle of a "who's the daddy" story? Knowing Portia, she will decide that Curtis is the daddy and beg for his forgiveness, just like she decided Taggart was Trina's dad and let him believe it. Curtis will think that he finally has the chance to raise a child, as Portia deprived him of that chance with Trina. But what about Isaiah? Unlike when Portia was pregnant with Trina, she didn't work with the other potential baby daddy, so Curtis never knew she was pregnant to begin with. Portia is Isaiah's boss, and he is bound to find out the truth and wonder if he could be the father. Considering how good Portia is at fudging lab results, we won't put it past her to fake a paternity test to get Isaiah off her back. General Hospital spoilers hint that Drew Kane may buy the Quartermaine mansion from Veronica Ronnie Bard after Monica Quartermaine's will reading. Tracy Quartermaine and the rest of Monica's loved ones are in for a shock when it comes to who'll score the Quartermaine residence. The upcoming will reading is set to bring some surprising news, so all signs point to Ronnie getting the house. That's especially true now that Ronnie dropped a hint about Tracy not being entitled to everything she thinks she's entitled to. Ronnie seems smug, like she perhaps knows the will's been rigged so that she'll get the mansion instead of Tracy or anyone else. Martin Gray found a letter from Ronnie to Monica on the floor of Drew's place, but Drew genuinely didn't seem to know what it was. Drew brushed it off as scrap paper the kids took from the Q-Mans back then, since they'd colored all over it. Martin previously vowed to make Tracy pay, and has likely found a way to make that happen. Based on Martin's mysterious phone call recently, he's the one who summoned Ronnie to Port Charles following Monica's demise. It seems obvious that Ronnie and Martin are working together at this point, so he'll presumably manipulate the situation so that she gets the Quartermaine estate. However, we know that Erica Slezak isn't sticking around long-term. This is just a brief GH arc for Slezak, so Ronnie may not be in possession of the Quartermaine mansion for long. It's possible that Martin's deception will get exposed quickly, but what if Ronnie simply sells the Q residence instead? Could Drew make a move to buy it and strike a major payback blow to the Quartermaine clan? Drew has been banned from the Quartermaine estate and got kicked out of Monica's funeral too. That could drive Drew to score the Q mansion for himself and throw out anyone who's wronged him. Drew may get updates on Ronnie's new ownership of the estate and make her an offer she can't refuse. Ronnie could retire to some tropical island somewhere with plenty of money, while Drew claims his spot as the king of the manor. General Hospital spoilers say Drew will have more tricks up his sleeve, so stay tuned. Hey General Hospital fans, get ready for a bombshell. This week, a character is set to discover she's pregnant, a storyline that aligns perfectly with a recent leak from a reliable source. The leak indicates that Portia Robinson is the one who's pregnant, not Jocelyn Jacks, as some had suspected, and definitely not Willow Tate. Let's delve into what's next for Portia. Her pregnancy immediately sets the stage for a "Who's the Daddy?" storyline. Our usually dependable leaker reports that Portia will find out she's pregnant this week, but she won't be sure of the father's identity. This is because she recently shared an intimate night with her new flame, Dr. Isaiah Gannon, not long after a passionate encounter with her husband, Curtis Ashford, following a period of marital dryness. The latest General Hospital promo, which you may have seen, showed a blurred figure holding a positive pregnancy test. Official spoilers corroborate this, stating that Portia receives life-changing news this Thursday. This leak aligns seamlessly with the unfolding episodes. The timing of this news couldn't be worse. Curtis recently provided Dante Falconeri with his alibi for the night of Drew's shooting, which included time spent with his ex, Jordan Ashford. This led Portia to believe Curtis had made his choice, seemingly favoring Jordan and causing her to declare their marriage over. Immediately after this confrontation, Portia confided in Isaiah, expressing her desire to explore a relationship with him and stating her marriage was officially finished, though she hadn't yet informed her daughter. If Portia is indeed pregnant, as the leak suggests, it will undoubtedly lead to a "who got her pregnant" plot. She slept with her husband Curtis once, and then shortly after with Isaiah, after declaring her marriage defunct. Portia was with Curtis on August 18th, and then first slept with Isaiah 10 days later, on August 28th. She was with Isaiah again on the night Drew was shot, September 2nd. You might recall that Isaiah served as Portia's alibi for the night of the shooting, though she hasn't yet been questioned by the police about it. Given the mere 5-day gap between her encounters with Curtis and Isaiah, Either man could be the father, depending on the stage of the pregnancy. If she's 6 weeks along, Curtis is the more probable father. However, if she's only a few weeks pregnant, it's anyone's guess whether Isaiah or Curtis is the father. If the conception timeline is indeed muddled, a DNA test will be the only way for Portia to know for sure. This could become complicated, especially with Jordan waiting in the wings to reconcile with Curtis. Jordan clearly wants him back, but knowing Portia's cunning nature, she might discreetly obtain Curtis's toothbrush for a clandestine DNA test. Otherwise, Portia would have to confess to Curtis and request a DNA sample. Isaiah would likely consent to a paternity test without hesitation, but he might not be ready for fatherhood after only a couple of encounters with his boss, despite his apparent feelings for her. Imagine the drama if Portia is pregnant and Isaiah is the father. Curtis would undoubtedly have strong words for his wife, particularly since Portia has been critical of Curtis for crossing boundaries with Jordan. Assuming Portia doesn't terminate the pregnancy, which seems unlikely, she'll begin showing in a few months, perhaps sooner, as soap operas often accelerate timelines. If Curtis isn't the father, Portia will eventually have to reveal the truth to him, as he'll be able to calculate the 9-month period and realize she was with another man. Curtis would likely be furious with Portia for her infidelity with Isaiah during their marriage, especially while she was accusing him of pursuing Jordan. Once Portia confirms her pregnancy with a positive test, she'll need to act quickly. She'll face significant explanations for both Isaiah and Curtis, though likely less so for Isaiah. As if Portia didn't have enough on her plate, she's still concerned about the blackmail evidence Drew Kane Quartermain possesses. Unbeknownst to her, Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor have stolen and destroyed it. While there's no concrete proof that Portia tampered with Heather Weber's test results, Trina hasn't informed her mother about this development. It's hard to imagine Trina explaining to her mother, "Oh, Kai and I just happened to be at Drew's house during the shooting, and we took it." Until Trina reveals the truth, Portia will remain anxious about the potential loss of her medical license and possible imprisonment. Adding to her turmoil, her marriage to Curtis is effectively over, and he's a suspect in Drew's shooting. Portia's life is in disarray, and a pregnancy, as the leaker suggests, will only amplify the chaos. Then there's Isaiah, who appears smitten with Portia. However, they weren't officially dating and aren't in a position to start a family yet. But who knows? After years of international medical work, Isaiah might be ready to settle down and start a family. Alternatively, he could be shocked by Portia's pregnancy. Portia herself might be horrified by the news. However, Isaiah could be thrilled, and Portia might be too, regardless of the father's identity. It's plausible that Isaiah would embrace fatherhood if Portia desires to have the baby. If Curtis is the father, the situation becomes considerably more challenging. While this doesn't guarantee Portia and Curtis will reunite, a new baby would necessitate co-parenting. This differs from Trina, who is an adult. Consider this. Portia allowed Marcus Taggart to believe he was Trina's father, deceiving him and Curtis about the truth until Trina was around 18. Given this history, it wouldn't be surprising if Portia lied about paternity again. The question is, in which direction would she lie? Hopefully, she's learned her lesson after the Trina incident nearly destroyed her life, and she just recently reconciled with Curtis. Portia recently told Jordan that she recognizes she's not the cause of her marital problems, indicating some personal growth. Regardless, Portia's world is about to be upended. I suspect Isaiah might be the father, as this would be the final blow to Curtis's and Portia's marriage. It appears likely that she and Curtis will divorce, he'll reunite with Jordan, and Portia might start a family with Isaiah. Furthermore, Trina dealing with her parents' separation and a new sibling would undoubtedly be overwhelming. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like Portia is pregnant. If so, expect a significant amount of soapy drama. The reunion between Britt and Nathan on General Hospital did not disappoint, especially since Liesl was thrown in the mix. However, it is also raising some serious red flags. There's no question that the timing of Britt and Nathan both coming back from the dead means something. We know Britt is the real deal. Now, Nathan has convinced everyone in his life that he's not an imposter. From even his fellow PCPD colleagues, Anna and Dante, to his beloved sister, Nina, and his mom, Liesel. They all believe Nathan is back from the dead. Britt, though, wasn't happy at all to see her brother. In fact, she immediately gave off skeptical vibes, as well as the vibe that she knows something the rest of them don't. GH fans quickly clocked the way Britt treated Nathan and used social media to express their thoughts. "Why is Britt looking at Nathan like this? What is going on? Is that really him?" questioned a fan. Another fan pointed out the awkward hug between Nathan and Britt, while a different fan shared that X and added their 2 cents. "Oh, y'all, Nathan is playing in everyone's faces. Ain't no way. Britt loves this man. If she's acting like this, it's 'cause she knows something's up. She is def gonna tap Jason at some point to help her 'cause shit is about to go sideways," read the X. A fan expressed, "Oh, set! That's is not Nathan West. Britt didn't embrace him or looked super excited. She's been behind the project that created Nathan." One fan chimed in to say, "Seeing Britt's reaction is all I needed to know this isn't Nathan at all. Bet money he's Peter, playing out this sick, twisted game against everyone who hated him and loved Nathan." Several fans are certain that the sudden return of Nathan has everything to do with Maxie and Nathan's son, James. We know whoever Britt is working for is also pulling Sidwell's strings, which makes Sidwell poisoning Maxie into a coma make sense. Maxie would know this Nathan is not the real Nathan, clearing the way to get to James, Faison's only grandson, insisted a fan. One fan is certain that this whole storyline is about getting James' DNA for some crazy Faison-like experiment. We hate to say it, but all signs point to something being up with Nathan. After all, Pavey likely wouldn't have returned unless there was a major twist to shake things up. Do you think Nathan is Nathan? And what do you think Britt knows? Let us know in the comments section below. ABC General Hospital. Spoilers reveal that Monica Quartermain's death sent shockwaves across Port Charles, but it was the reading of her will that shattered the Quartermain dynasty like never before. For decades, the family's name had been synonymous with power, privilege, and dysfunction, a chaotic empire that somehow always managed to endure. But without Monica, the fragile balance that held the Quartermains together splintered into open war. Tracy Quartermain believed it was her birthright to step into Monica's shoes as the undisputed matriarch, wielding her trademark mix of razor-sharp wit and intimidation. But Tracy's assumption was dead wrong. Because Veronica arrived, quietly at first, then with a force so devastating that even Tracy was left scrambling. Veronica's ties to Monica were shrouded in secrecy. Whispers of hidden trusts, long-buried documents, and a relationship forged in shadows left the family reeling. By the time the will was read, Veronica was no bystander. She was a contender. And in one shocking moment, Tracy, who had clawed her way through every Quartermain feud for decades, found herself face-to-face with a rival who had nothing to lose and everything to gain. Inside the mansion, the fallout was immediate. The rooms once dominated by Tracy's voice now echoed with Veronica's as explosive confrontations erupted. Words became weapons, cutting deeper than knives, as accusations flew across the table. Ned, Brooklyn, Michael, and Drew looked on in disbelief. They'd seen Quartermain chaos before, but this wasn't about ELQ shares or boardroom battles. This was about Monica's legacy itself, about who had the right to carry it forward. For Tracy, the right was unquestionable. For Veronica, it was destiny. Off-screen, fans couldn't help but connect fiction with reality. Jane Elliott, the powerhouse actress who brought Tracy to life for decades, was nearing her exit. The storyline was crafted as a fitting farewell, a final arc drenched in chaos, legacy, and loss. Tracy's last great battle wasn't just for ELQ. It was for her very identity. As the war escalated, Veronica presented damning evidence, letters, financial records, testimonies that suggested Monica trusted her more than Tracy. Whether it was truth or manipulation almost didn't matter. The damage was done. Investors wavered, lawyers tangled in endless disputes, and ELQ's stock began to dip. Tracy struck back with venom, rallying allies and slashing at enemies with her sharp tongue. But for the first time, it wasn't enough. Her grip on the family and on power was slipping. In private moments, Tracy sat in Monica's study, staring at the empty chair that once held her fiercest sparring partner. And in those silences, the dragon of the Quartermaines confronted a chilling truth. Her war wasn't about victory anymore. It was about survival. Meanwhile, Veronica's presence only grew stronger. Calm where Tracy was fiery, calculating where Tracy was impulsive, she steadily reshaped the family in her own image. Soon, even outsiders, Sunny, Carly, and Anna, recognized the shift. Veronica wasn't just a Quartermaine rival, she was becoming a Port Charles power. The Quartermaine mansion itself became a war zone. Family dinners dissolved into screaming matches. Board meetings turned into blood sport. Monica's memory, meant to unite them, was weaponized instead. Tracy's desperation grew, and with it, her isolation. The harder she fought, the more brittle she appeared. Her victories felt hollow, and little by little, the once indomitable Tracy Quartermaine began to look like a relic of a dynasty that no longer existed. Fans realized they were witnessing the end of an era. Jane Elliott's farewell was written not as a triumph, but as a tragedy, an unyielding matriarch consumed by her final war. And in her fall, Veronica's rise was cemented. With Monica gone and Tracy defeated, the Quartermaines were left fractured, vulnerable, and unrecognizable. What had once been Port Charles' most iconic dynasty now stood on the edge of collapse. And yet, in true General Hospital fashion, one truth rang out. Even dynasties fall, but in their ruins, new powers rise. Veronica had claimed the Quartermaine Empire, not quietly, not gracefully, but with the kind of ruthless precision that guaranteed Port Charles would never be the same again. As we all know, death isn't permanent on soaps, and in the case of General Hospital, there have been a few back-from-the-dead instances, one right after the other. First, Britt turned up alive, and now her brother Nathan landed back in Port Charles. Could it be that their evil sibling Peter is also alive and behind their resurrections? Fans have their theories. As of right now, there hasn't been any confirmation on Peter coming back from the dead or his portrayer Wes Ramsey returning to the ABC soap. However, the actor will be turning up elsewhere and has a message for his fans. "Hey guys, it's Wes Ramsey here," he began in a video posted by Union Conventions. "I wanted to formally extend an invitation to you all to join me and my friends as we come together for the Book of Shadows convention in Paris, France. The event, which is centered around the Charmed series, takes place on February 28, 2026, through March 1, 2026. Fans that followed the fantasy drama that ran from '98 to 2006 will recall that Ramsey played Wyatt Halliwell, Piper's son and Patty's grandson. Fun fact for those who didn't follow the series, Patty was played by none other than Finola Hughes. The halls of the family mansion, once alive with Monica's steady presence, now echo with silence. Her death left a void in the Quartermaine legacy, and no one feels it more deeply than Jason Morgan. To the outside world, Jason appeared the same during Monica's funeral. Stoic, controlled, every inch the enforcer Sonny Corinthos trained him to be. But behind that steel facade was a grief so raw it threatened to shatter him. For years, Jason built a reputation as unshakable, the man who could survive anything. Yet Monica's death struck at a part of him no bullet or rival could ever touch. Their relationship had been complicated. Monica loved her son unconditionally, even when she lost Jason Quartermaine, the aspiring doctor, to the tragic accident that gave rise to Jason Morgan, Sonny's right hand. Through every fight, every disappointment, every choice that pulled him further into danger, Monica never stopped loving him. And now, even in death, Monica has one more request of her son. Days after the funeral, among Monica's belongings, Jason discovered a letter written in her unmistakable handwriting, addressed only to him. It wasn't just words on a page. It was Monica's final plea, that Jason leave behind the violence, the endless cycle of blood debts and revenge, and choose life. Monica urged him to honor her memory, not with flowers or rituals, but with a decision, to reclaim the man he could be, not the enforcer he had become. She reminded him that family is more than loyalty to Sonny's empire. It is about being present as a son, as a father, as a man who could create a life built on love rather than loss. For the first time in decades, Jason is faced with a choice that shakes him to his core. All the rationalizations, protecting Sunny, keeping order in the underworld, being the unbreakable soldier, suddenly ring hollow. Monica's death left him with only the stark truth. He has sacrificed too much, and perhaps betrayed the one person who loved him most by refusing her wish in life. Now Jason must decide: continue down the path of violence that could one day claim his life, or finally honor Monica's last words and step toward a future he has always denied himself. Port Charles gathered this week to mourn a Titan, but what began as a somber farewell to Dr. Monica Quartermain quickly descended into a maelstrom of deceit and betrayal. The funeral, held in a church overflowing with family, friends, and grateful patience, was meant to be a moment of unified grief for the notoriously fractured Quartermain clan. Instead, it became the stage for a devastating power play that has left the family's legacy and its future in ashes. The fragile peace shattered during the reading of Monica's last will and testament. Mourners watched in stunned silence as the document, rather than honoring Monica's well-known desire for family harmony, seemed engineered to detonate it. The will inexplicably stripped Tracy Quartermain of her expected authority, isolated her heir apparent Michael Corinthos, and sowed chaos among the younger generation. The clauses were so cruel and uncharacteristic that they left the family reeling, not with grief, but with suspicion and rising hostility. The mastermind of this deception was revealed to be one of their own, Drew Kane. Feeling like a perennial outsider within the family that Monica had taken him into, Drew saw her death as a final, desperate opportunity to seize control. He enlisted the legal cunning of Martin Gray to forge a will that would dismantle the Quartermain power structure from the inside. Drew watched from the pews, his feigned sorrow masking a quiet triumph, as the family he felt had never truly accepted him began to tear itself apart, just as he had planned. But a plot built on lies could not hold. The first crack in Drew's scheme appeared with the stunning arrival of Veronica Bard, a woman claiming to be Monica's long-lost sister. Veronica produced a heartfelt, handwritten letter from Monica, penned shortly before her death, that spoke of love and unity, a stark contradiction to the divisive will. Her evidence ignited Tracy's already simmering suspicions, transforming her grief into a relentless quest for the truth. The flames were fanned further when a perceptive Stella Henry overheard Martin in a furtive, incriminating phone call, confirming a conspiracy was afoot. The final, decisive blow came from Jason Morgan. As accusations flew and the family threatened to implode, Jason, whose loyalty to Monica was unshakable, stood and declared with quiet, steely conviction that the will was a lie. His word, backed by Veronica's letter and Stella's discovery, was the fulcrum that shifted the balance. The devastating realization crashed down upon the Quartermains. Drew, the man Monica had nurtured, had desecrated her memory for his own ambition. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic, leading to a bitter legal war that has exposed every family wound. Though the forged will has been discredited, the damage is done. The Quartermain mansion is no longer a home, but a battlefield, and the trust that once bound Port Charles's most powerful family may be broken forever. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.